People in the small coastal town had known Michael Reyes as nothing more than a quiet janitor, a single dad who swept floors, fixed flickering lights, and walked home holding his daughter's tiny hand. But everything changed the night little Emily tugged his sleeve and whispered, trembling, "Daddy, please help her." No one expected Michael to step into that alley. No one expected him to take down 3 grown men with the precision of a ghost from the past. And absolutely no one expected a U.S. Navy admiral to show up at his door the next morning, saluting him. What the admiral revealed would shake the entire town, and uncover who Michael Reyes really was. The night was supposed to be quiet. Michael Reyes had just finished his shift at Harbor Ridge Middle School, sweeping broken pencil shards and wiping childish graffiti off lockers. His daughter Emily, only 7, waited patiently on the bench outside his supply closet, swinging her legs and humming her favorite tune. She always said she liked staying late because the school feels like a secret castle at night. Michael smiled at that. For all the struggles of being a single dad, Emily made the world glow. They stepped into the cold evening, the street lamps humming as they walked toward their small apartment 2 blocks away. Michael carried Emily's pink backpack on one shoulder. The town was peaceful until it wasn't. At the corner of Willow Street, Emily stopped. Her smile vanished. She clutched her father's hand so tightly he felt her trembling. "Daddy, please help her," she whispered. Michael's heart kicked hard against his ribs. He followed her gaze toward a narrow alley where a faint cry echoed, a woman's voice, weak and scared. "Stay here," Michael said gently. Emily shook her head. "Daddy." He knelt, cupping her cheeks. "I promise, I'll be right back." When Michael stepped into the alley, the darkness swallowed him. 3 men surrounded a woman in a torn coat. She was on the ground, crying, pleading. The tallest man turned. "Walk away, old man." "Not tonight," Michael said quietly. The men laughed, but only until Michael moved. It happened fast. Too fast for a janitor. A grab, a twist, a precise strike to the throat, then a sweeping kick that sent the second attacker into the wall. The third lunged with a knife, but Michael disarmed him with a movement that looked trained, disciplined, military. 30 seconds later, all 3 were unconscious. The woman stared at Michael with wide, disbelieving eyes. Who are you?" Michael didn't answer. He just helped her stand and walked her to the street, Emily rushing to hug him tightly. Police sirens echoed in the distance, someone must have called. Michael didn't wait for questions. He just took Emily home. But as he tucked her into bed later, she whispered, "Daddy, how did you do that?" Michael froze. He had spent years hiding the answer. Because Michael Reyes was more than a janitor. He was someone the Navy didn't speak about. Someone who had once been called for missions that were erased from records. He kissed Emily's forehead. "I just protected someone who needed help. That's all." But he knew the truth. What he did tonight would not remain unnoticed. And he was right. The next morning, before sunrise, the knock came. A heavy one. Michael opened the door cautiously, expecting a police officer, maybe a neighbor. Instead, a man in full Navy uniform stood there. Silver hair. Broad shoulders. Medals that could blind in the sun. Behind him, 2 officers waited quietly. "Michael Reyes," the fleet-ranking admiral asked. Michael's stomach tightened. "Not anymore," he replied. The admiral held his gaze for a long moment, then, to Emily's shock, who peeked from behind her father, the admiral did something unimaginable. He saluted. Emily blinked. Michael's jaw tightened. "Admiral Cole," Michael said softly. "This is unnecessary." "It is," Cole answered. "Because the country still owes you respect, Ghost Falcon." Michael flinched. That name. He hadn't heard it in years. Not since the mission that cost him his wife, his career, and the life he used to have. Emily whispered, "Daddy, what's a Ghost Falcon?" Michael placed a protective hand on her shoulder. "Nothing, sweetheart. It's nothing anymore." But Admiral Cole shook his head. "It's everything. And after last night, the Pentagon knows you're alive. And they know you stepped in again. Michael swallowed hard. I didn't have a choice. She needed help. And that, the Admiral said with a sad smile, is why we need men like you back. The world is changing. There's a threat, something only someone with your experience can handle. Michael stepped outside, closing the door so Emily couldn't hear. I'm done, he said firmly. My daughter needs me. Admiral Cole's voice softened. Your country needs you too. Michael's fists clenched. He had sacrificed everything once. He wouldn't abandon Emily again. The Admiral saw the conflict in his eyes. After a long silence, he placed a sealed envelope in Michael's hand. If you truly never want this life again, destroy that envelope. But if you open it, you're back. Michael stared at the weight of it. What's in here? Answers, Cole replied. About your wife's accident. The truth you were never told. Michael's breath caught. His wife's death was the one thing he could never untangle. Classified, mysterious, technical malfunction, they told him. He watched the Admiral walk away. Inside the apartment, Emily held her stuffed rabbit, her eyes shining with trust. Daddy? Who was that man? Michael knelt and pulled her into a hug. Someone from a long time ago. But as he held her, his mind burned with a war he thought he had escaped. Was he willing to open a door that could endanger them both? He closed his eyes, gripping the envelope. This time, he wasn't fighting for a mission. He was fighting for the truth. And the truth was about to change everything.